Can you hear me? Hmm. Turn your video off. Can you hear me though? Can you type yes in the chat? Thank you. I'm a little early, so we'll give it a minute. Hi, Ariel, welcome. I've got you muted, but can you put a message in the chat and just let me know that you can hear me? Awesome, thank you so much. Just want to make sure I've got this set up properly. I'm going to give people just one more minute or so to join the room. Thank you. And if you guys see me looking over here at any point, it's just because I'm monitoring the chat and then letting people into the room so they can join. Where's everyone tuning in from? Vegas, awesome. Atlanta, cool. You staying safe over there and healthy? Hi, Chelsea, welcome. Good. All right, it is, oh, okay. Bear with me, guys. I'm just making sure we are connected. Okay, one more time. I know I already asked. Can you guys just put yes in the chat box if you can see and hear me? Yes, cool. Thank you. Hi, Nicole. Awesome. Okay, so one more time. I'm looking here, but if you see my eyes going back and forth at all, it's because I've got the chat box over here and I'm monitoring people who need to be let into the room. But it is 5 o'clock, so we will go ahead and get started. If we haven't met or interacted yet, my name is Megan, and like you, I'm a writer and also a member of the Female Freelance Writers group. And I wanted to come on here today because one thing I've noticed with a lot of people in this group is that they're struggling to land clients. And something you may have noticed in building up your career is that it almost doesn't matter how good of a writer you are. If you don't know how to land clients, you can't make money. And it's tricky because in becoming a professional writer, you also become a business owner. And this catches a lot of us off guard because as a business owner, you wear a lot of different hats, one of which is sales. So whether we like it or not, we have to learn how to sell our services, okay? So just to give you a little bit of context in case you're wondering why the heck you should listen to me, I started writing professionally in 2009. And it was a very modest side gig. I was just making, a little extra money here and there. But long story short, over the years, I realized that being an employee and doing the 9 to 5 thing wasn't for me. And I ended up building up an agency that generates over $10,000 a month in revenue. And it's not because, I got lucky or because I'm special. It's because I learned how to sell my services. So my goal for you by the end of this call is to give you actionable steps that you can take and copy so that you can go out and land your next clients. We want high quality, high paying clients. And at the end of the call, I'm also going to give you some free resources that I think you'll find helpful that reflect some of the things we're going to talk about. And we can also do a Q&A. So if you have questions throughout, maybe just jot them down and then put them in the chat box at the end so that they don't get buried, because then I might miss them. All right. So in case anyone is totally new to cold emailing, I just want to give you a quick definition. You've probably heard of cold calling, and cold emailing is pretty much the same thing, but over email. It's when you email someone who you have no prior relationship with, and you ultimately pitch your services. And I know that a lot of people have this fear that cold emailing is spam. If you do it the wrong way, cold emailing 100% can be spammy. But with the tips that I'm going to give you and the way I do cold emailing, there is a huge difference. It's much more targeted, much more personalized. So you're not just blasting off, the same shady email to 500 people. So any concerns you have about coming across as spammy, you don't need to worry about that, because spam and cold email, two different things. Okay? To give you kind of a bird's eye view of where this whole talk is going, I'm splitting it up into 3 sections. In the first section, we're going to talk about mindset, which is where it all starts. In the second section, we're going to talk about getting very clear on who you want to work with. And in the third and final section, we're going to talk about cold emailing itself. Before I keep going, can you guys just give me a hey or a yes in the chat box? Let me know you're still with me. Yes, cool. Thank you. All right, let's keep going. So we're starting with mindset, and I don't care how flowery anyone thinks it sounds. If your head is not in the right place, it's not going to work. And you really have to undo any preconceived limitations you've put on yourself. And I think, women, we don't know our worth, we don't know our value, and we constantly undervalue ourselves. So this is going to be especially important for us. The first thing I want you to think of is, what is your why? Why are you doing this? Why is this important to you? Why do you want to have your own business, making your own money, being your own boss? What's the purpose of all of this, okay? And then I want you to write it down and put it on your wall. I've got mine right here. My why is I want to make more passive income. I want to be able to support my family and give us freedom. So really get clear and really visualize what you want out of this. And then secondly, I want you to think about your financial goals. I will never tell you to use money as your main motivator, but it's okay to have money goals. It's okay to want to make more money. You are not greedy. There's nothing evil about it. You can say out loud right now, I love money. I want more money. And it's okay. Consider this. I am giving you permission to love money. So think about how much you want to make per month. And then think about how many clients you're going to need to get there. What do you need to live the life you want? It's okay to put a price on it. I'm just checking in with the chat. Okay. So we've started with our why, we've started with our financial goals. Now we're moving on to 3 huge myths that we're going to revisit throughout the course of this discussion, but I want to put them in front of you right now, and I'm also going to copy and paste them into the chat in case you guys want to jot them down, tripping on my words here. These are 3 myths that I know I'm not the only one who's encountered these. The first myth is that you have too much competition. There's no way you could make the income you want because there are too many people fighting for work. We're going to talk about this later, why it's not true. The second myth you need to get out of your head, clients won't pay you what you want. And the third myth is that cold emailing is a numbers game. Again, we are going to debunk all of these over the course of this call. And again, I just want to reiterate, any limits you've placed on how much money you can make, they exist only in your mind, and you got to get rid of them. There are no limits. Your business, your work exists online, which means you have no boundaries. You're not bound geographically. You're not bound physically. No boundaries, okay? And lastly, in terms of mindset, something I want to leave you with. I cannot take credit for this. I learned this from Sunny Lenarduzzi. I will put her name in the chat as well. If you haven't already, check her out on YouTube. She's got tons of amazing information in terms of marketing your business, which absolutely applies to us. I learned something from her. It is a 90-day letter to yourself. So what you're going to do is you're going to sit down. I prefer handwriting, but if you enjoy typing more, that's okay. And you are going to pretend it is 90 days in the future. And as yourself, 90 days ahead, you're going to write a letter to yourself today. And you're going to say, talk about all the things that you've achieved in the last 90 days. What is your life like 90 days from now? What are you doing? How do you feel? Get specific. What time do you wake up in the morning? What does your morning routine look like? And what this is going to do is it's going to really force you to visualize where exactly you want to go. And it's kind of like reverse engineering, like working backwards. When you have an idea of where you want to go and where you want to be in 90 days, that's going to help you better understand what you need to do to get there. Okay? So I've got my 90-day letter. It's on my desk. I just wrote it on a piece of notebook paper, and I read it every single morning. And it's helped a lot. When I first watched this video and she said to do that, I was kind of like, okay, Sunny, but it's a really good exercise. All right? So that was step one, all about mindset. And I just want to reiterate this because I believe it wholeheartedly. We struggle with our value, and writers especially, we have a horrible habit of undercharging. And I promise you, there are clients out there who will pay you exactly what you want. It's a matter of zeroing in on them and pitching your services in the right way. Okay? Let's move on to step two. Give me a yes in the chat box if you're still with me. Cool. Thank you, guys. All right, so step two, as a reminder, we're going to get very clear on who you want to work with. You don't want to work with everyone. That's not in your best interest. And I've talked to a lot of writers who say, oh no, I don't pick a niche because I don't want to limit myself. When we say niche, or niche, if you're not familiar with the word, it basically refers to a segment of a population. So when you pick a niche, maybe you are a fitness writer, or a fashion writer, or a food writer. There are a million different niches. And people are scared that this is going to limit them because you are zeroing in on one group of people. But the reason you pick a niche is because it allows you to position yourself as an expert. This means you can charge more, and you're going to eliminate a good chunk of your competition. I want to give you an example to kind of illustrate this more. Imagine a primary care physician versus an ENT, an ear, nose, and throat doctor. You start with your PCP because they're the generalist. They know a little bit about everything, but if they think they know what your problem is, they send you to the specialist, the ENT. The specialist knows way more about that area, and as a result, because they're the expert of that thing, they charge more. And you pay it because you know they have that knowledge. That is what you do when you pick a niche. And if you're worried about not having enough people to cold email, you will never run out of leads. You'll never run out of people to cold email. So don't let that be the reason you don't pick a niche, okay? And also, I want you to bear in mind that the people you cold email are very likely getting cold email by your competitors, but the difference is those competitors aren't specialists. They're not reaching out to your leads going, my name is Megan and I'm a fitness writer. I specialize in fitness. They're sending cold emails saying, I'm a writer, period. Okay? Once you've got your niche, the next thing you need to do is you need to think about the personality of the type of client you want to work with. So what you're going to do is you're going to sit down and you're going to create an ideal client avatar. Sit down and write down on a piece of paper, what does your perfect client look like? This will include the industry that they're in, but also personality traits. Are they more outgoing? Are they more quiet? Are they very involved in the work? Or do they kind of, stand back and let you handle it? When you skip this step and you don't get clear with who you want to work with, you end up with clients you can't stand. You have to know ahead of time what your requirements and what your deal breakers are in order to work with people you actually enjoy. And I'm telling you, in the beginning, when I was willing to work with everyone and anyone, I ended up with this nightmare of a client that I ended up firing. I fired the client because he was making my life so miserable that I didn't even care about getting his money or his business. And if I had been a little more picky and a little more clear about what I need in a client, that wouldn't have happened. So that's something else, and also kind of a mindset thing. Don't be scared to be picky. I am giving you permission to be picky, all right? You are not desperate. Don't take whatever you can get. You set your standards and then you stick to your guns, all right? Along with getting clear on who you want to work with, let's talk about your rates for a minute. You want to be building a stable, predictable income. And where I see a lot of writers going wrong with this is that they're only looking for one-offs. They look for a project, a short-term project where they make, a little bit of money, and then they go to the next and the next and the next. And I'm not saying don't do those, because sometimes they're really good opportunities or really good money. But if you want to build a stable and predictable income as a writer, you need clients who are going to bring you recurring work every single month. So when you're approaching people, you want to present your services as, I would like to write, 2 blogs a month or 1 blog a week, and then you charge them a flat rate. And this goes for blog content, email content, any type of written content. You want repetitive, recurring work every single month, and you charge a flat rate for that work. That way, you always have a really good idea of the money that you can expect to come in, and also your workload. What we want to avoid is you being really, really busy one month with tons of work and you make like 5, 6K, and then the next month, crickets. That's not a way to build a solid career and to prepare for your future. This is also why when you are communicating with clients or potential clients, I encourage you not to charge by hour or by word. And here's why. Charging per hour is dangerous for you because there are going to be things that you can get done in minutes. You aren't charging for the time it takes you to complete a task. You are charging for the value and the expertise that you bring to the table. Value-based pricing, not time-based, okay? And the reason we don't charge based on word, there are a few reasons. The biggest one is that it's just too sloppy. You will run into this eventually if you haven't already. You will write a 1,000-word blog, and the client will edit it, and then they'll come back to you and say, oh, well, once we were done fixing it, it was only 800 words, and then they pay you for 800 words. We're not doing that. That's not how it works. You are in charge of how much you get paid. What you do, what you bring to the table cannot be reduced to time or words. Now, when you are coming up with rates on your own, you factor in, absolutely, how much time is this going to take me? How many words is it? But also, what value do I bring to this? I am a fitness and nutrition writer. I have several years of experience as a competitive athlete. So I bring knowledge that other writers can't. I charge for that knowledge. It doesn't matter if it takes me 35 minutes to write a blog. I've been studying this for like I've been a competitive athlete since I was 12. That's the value I'm bringing. You charge for value, okay? And lastly, because we're talking about cold emailing and landing clients, I want to leave you with this one tip, one more thing in regards to rates. Don't give your rates on the spot if you're on a call. Because we have the tendency to undercharge, if you're on a call and a client asks you for your rates, you are going to just blurt out a number and you're going to be eager to land that client, which is great. So you're going to undercharge. You're going to give a rate that's lower than you would if you had time to think about it. What you do is you tell them that you need to go work out the numbers and you'll get back to them with a proposal. And then you go and you sit quietly by yourself and you think about the time investment, the word count, the value you bring, and even sleep on it and think about that number and then get back to them later. I have never gotten any pushback from a lead on the phone when I said, I'll come back to you with a proposal. You just really got to stand your ground. Don't be pressured. If they keep pushing you for it, at most you can tell them my rates start at this much. And then they vary based on a number of factors. Don't give them any more information than that because you're going to give them an answer that you're going to kick yourself for. All right. So we've covered mindset. We've covered getting clear on who you want to work with. I'm just checking the chat to make sure there aren't any questions yet or comments. No one's waiting to get in the room. Okay, we'll keep going. Step 3, let's talk about the cold email itself. So we've been debunking these myths this whole time. Myth number 1, as a recap, was that you have too much competition. The way you get around that is picking a niche. When you pick a niche, you obliterate most of your competition. Myth number 2 is that clients won't pay you what you want. When you get clear on who you want to work with and you get clear on your rates, you will find clients that will be more than happy to pay you what you want. So we've just busted the first 2 myths. Myth number 3 is that cold emailing is a numbers game. I'm going to tell you why this is false, and it's because the quality of your cold email is as important as how many you send. So if you send out an email blast to 500 people, but don't take a second to personalize them or customize them in any way, it's not going to matter that you sent 500. A, that is spammy, and B, you're not going to close a client. It is worth spending an extra 45 seconds to add some kind of personal touch to a cold email. It's going to help your conversion rate. So think about personalizing it with the recipient's first name, the name of the business, and then maybe add in a sentence or 2 about the company itself. As an example, if you are selling your blogging services, you can mention a blog that they already published that you happen to like. Say, oh, I noticed you blogged about this topic that really resonated with me. And that little extra detail there is going to show them that you respect them as a unique company and that they're not just another number. They're not just another cold email. Okay? And kind of going back to, trying to get out of the sales mindset, instead of looking at it as trying to sell and trying to convince them, this is all it comes down to. You're trying to help them. And that should be your goal when you cold email people. Your goal should be to help. You want to go into this thinking, I just want to get them the best results possible. I'm going to be like the best at what I do. There's no one better than me. If you approach clients or potential clients with that mindset, they will not hesitate to give you their money because they want you to solve their problems. So if you do that, the money will naturally follow. And I want to go back to this, I told you to have money goals and I encourage you to, but I don't recommend you make it your main motivator. And it's because your clients don't care about you making money. Your goal needs to revolve around something that involves them. So instead, make your goal delivering results. Make your goal solving their problem. And as a result, you're going to make the money. Okay? You're looking to find clients who have a problem that you think you can solve. And, keep in mind with this whole process of cold emailing, it is all about them, not about you. And our tendency when we send cold emails is to talk about how fantastic we are, which I totally get. Like we're trying to convince people, hey, I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing. You know, take a chance on me. But all they're thinking when you reach out to them is, well, what do I get out of this? That's all they care about. They know that this relationship involves giving you money, and they want to know what they get out of it. So the benefits of working with you, the benefits for them, should be very evident in your cold email. I will put in my cold emails that I help companies get more website traffic, better rankings in Google, more email subscribers. Those are benefits they enjoy as a result of my content. And that's the highlight, the focal point of my cold email. I put it right there, point blank. This is what's in it for you. All right? And always, always, always end your cold email with a very clear and specific call to action, a CTA. A call to action, if you're not familiar, is any sentence or statement that prompts the reader, the recipient, to take action. You see CTAs all the time and probably don't even realize it. Anytime you see a shop now button, subscribe, sign up for our newsletter, contact us, click here to download, those are all CTAs. They're telling you to do something and you do it. CTAs work. There's research on this. CTAs actually convert really well. So consider ending your email with a CTA with the goal of getting them on the phone. And you want to get your leads on the phone because it's going to be way easier to close them there than by email. You start with the email, you go to the phone. All right? And keep in mind, CTAs should be easy for your lead to respond to. Here's what I mean. Let me show you the difference. One CTA is, would you like to get on a phone call and talk more? But it's too open-ended, okay? If they say yes, then you have to go back to them again and be like, okay, here's my schedule. What's your schedule? Now compare that to a CTA like, I would love to get on a call with you. Do you have time tomorrow at 1 p.m.? You went in for the kill. You went straight for getting something on the calendar. Another option is, I'd love to talk on the phone more. Here are 3 potential times. Which one works best for you? And all they have to do is pick. Okay? You can also ask them for their calendar link so that you can reserve a time and it takes all the work off of them. You want to make this easy on them. Don't ask them to do anything. Okay? So we've covered 3 main steps. Step 1, and I will put this in the chat in case you guys want to write these down. Everyone still with me? Step 1, we talked about mindset and getting your head in the right place. Step 2, we talked about getting clear on who you want to work with. And for step 3, we talked about crafting your cold email. I want to be really clear and give you actionable steps that you can take after this call is over. So here's your homework, okay? Write down what I'm going to tell you. For step 1, which is getting your mind right, you're going to go write your 90-day letter. This is going to force you to get very clear about exactly what you want to accomplish and where you want to go. And get specific. I've got in my 90-day letter, oh, I spend so much time gardening and playing with the dogs, and I wake up at 7:30 every morning, and like that's how detailed I got. So go someplace quiet and really visualize, what does my life look like in 90 days, and write that down. And you do this every 90 days and kind of track your progress. Okay? And as a reminder, you're going to read it every single day and leave it somewhere that you can see it. You can even make a copy of it and put one by your bed and then one in your office. For your second piece of homework, you're going to write your why. You can keep it short, 1 or 2 sentences. Why are you doing this? Why do you want to be a writer? Why do you want your own business? Put it somewhere you will see it every single day. Next, you are going to write a max of 3 actionable goals. This is stuff you can control. So not money goals, because you can't ultimately control that. What you can control is the steps you're going to take to get there. For instance, how many cold emails you want to send a day, or how many leads you want to source each day. I like to set daily goals because It helps me like really get the momentum going. And I find that when I take little steps every single day, it really snowballs. And lastly, you're going to go ahead and write your income goals. And you can look at this equation like this. Start with the total amount of money you want to make each month. And you're going to get to that by taking the number of clients you need multiplied by what you'll charge each client. And I know this won't be exact because you'll be charging different clients different rates. But again, this is to help you get into the mindset of, this is what I want, this is how I'm going to get here. And it's also going to help you rewire your brain and that thinking that's telling you, oh, I can't charge any more than this because no one will pay that. That's gone. As of this webinar, that goes bye-bye. You can make whatever you want. Okay, your homework for step 2, you are going to create your ideal client avatar. You're going to start by picking your niche. Okay, this is how you're going to pick your niche. You're going to make a list of everything that you enjoy doing and everything that you know a lot about or are willing to learn a lot about. 2 lists, okay? Then you are going to narrow these down to the options that appear in both columns. And you're going to zero in on the ones that are profitable. Those are your potential niches, okay? Start with one niche. You can expand later, but start with one that you're going to put all of your energy into. Once you have your niche, you can then go and create your ideal client avatar, considering what industry you want to be working with, what kind of brands you want to work with, and then the personality of your ideal client. And for step 3, you're going to draft one cold email template that you can start working from. You don't write every cold email from scratch. You have templates that you personalize before sending them out. You want to keep it very concise and to the point. People don't want to read an epic novel. They're bored, they're busy, they're stressed. You're going to focus on how they benefit from working with you, what they get out of this relationship. If you want to add a sentence or 2 at the end about you, that's great. I'm not saying don't talk about yourself. I'm saying prioritize them. And you are going to end with a CTA, a call to action, aiming to get them on a phone call. All right? Personalize every single cold email. You can use the template, but then you're going to personalize those 3 details: the name, the company name, the name of the recipient, the company name, and then 1 or 2 sentences max about their blog, a comment on their content. All right? So those are actionable steps that you can take. You can start doing this, today or this week. And I just really want to remind you that we, writers, because we're kind of in an artistic field, sometimes people don't take us seriously. And I want to say that we're almost part of the problem, but it's like this perpetuating this cycle, because a lot of writers are finding work on job boards and bidding sites. And if you have experience with job boards and bidding sites, give me a yes in the chat box. I started there. I am very familiar with them. And I'm sure if you've spent any time on them, you know by now the drawbacks. There might be hundreds of other writers competing for one job. And because these writers are willing to work for so little money, to be competitive with them, you have to be willing to charge as little as they do, which stinks, because that means you're making $5 for writing 1,000 words. That's not what we're trying to do. I waved bye-bye to job boards and bidding sites a long time ago. Now my business is purely from cold emailing and every now and then word of mouth. But when I want to go out and land clients, I'm sending cold emails. Okay, so I am going to leave for you, where are my notes? I have one resource in particular that I wanted to share with you guys. I'm just getting the link so I can drop it in the chat box for you. This is free. It's a free guide that you can get on my website. I use LinkedIn religiously every single day, and it helps me connect with my leads on a more personal level. And then also using the information I share in this guide, I've had clients come to me and find me through LinkedIn. That's the best kind of client to close, the one you didn't have to seek out. So download that guide. It is free, and it's going to teach you how to optimize your LinkedIn page and use LinkedIn to grow your business. It is a very underutilized tool, and I myself used to hate LinkedIn. I thought it was the dumbest thing ever invented. But now, like, there's no way I could have scaled my business the way I did without LinkedIn. It's been really important to me. So there is that guide. And then I'm just going to drop my YouTube and my Instagram links. If you're on Instagram, please send me a friendship, what do they call it? A message, follow me, and I'll follow back so we can connect. I post tons of content on my YouTube and also my blog, all about cold emailing, lead generation, qualifying your leads, subject lines. My YouTube especially, I post 1 or 2 videos a week, usually about cold emailing. So that is what I've got for you today. That first link that I sent on my website, that will be really helpful and get you thinking more like a business owner and not just a writer. So download that, take a look at it. Questions? Give everyone just a minute here. What's the hardest part about cold emailing? I would say, that's a good question. Waiting. There is a little bit of waiting involved, because what I like about cold emailing is that I go out and find the client. And more than any method of client acquisition I've tried, and I've tried a lot, I've gone door to door, cold calling, Facebook ads, Pinterest ads, you're still kind of on the leads clock. So there will be times that I send a cold email and I always wait 2 days before following up. So I'm like, all right, there's 2 days gone. And then they'll respond and be like, oh, let's get on a call next week. I'm very eager and I move very quickly. But honestly, the process itself, now that I know how to do it, cold emailing is not difficult. You need to commit to it and get into a rhythm of chipping away at it every single day. But the results are so good once you've got the process. For every approximately 11 cold emails I send, I close a client. So it works, and like I always trust that it will work. But sometimes you're waiting for the action to start. Like, all right, come on, let's go. But other than that, it's not hard to do. It's just that I feel like not that many people know how to do it, and not that many people know how to teach it. The courses and the programs I've taken on cold emailing, like looking back on them, they all worked under the assumption that cold emailing is a numbers game, and that's half true, but not completely. How long should you wait before a follow-up email? Great question, Ariel. You send a cold email, wait 2 days. 1 day is, full disclosure, everyone's got an opinion on this. My opinion, 1 day is a little too aggressive. Aggressive is good, but you still want to give them time to respond. But 3 days gives them too much time to forget. You want to be fresh in their mind. So wait 2 days, follow up, wait 2 more days, follow up again. For me, if I send that third email, the second follow-up email, and I don't get a response, I'm out. I'm not going to beg anyone to respond. Okay? How long? Oh, I already answered that. Thank you so much. This was such a great, informative presentation. I love the steps that you shared and the fact that you use LinkedIn all the time. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I hope this is helpful. I really just wanted to come here and hopefully give you guys some guidance and like actionable steps that you could take. So thank you for the kind words, Nicole. What is a good length for a cold email? 2 to 3 paragraphs. Short paragraphs. Short ones. In school, growing up, I learned that a paragraph was 5 sentences. Now I'm like, oh, too long. Don't say any more than you absolutely have to. And when I say like, cut out the fluff, this is how much I mean it. I used to start my cold emails with something like, hope you've been well, or I hope this email finds you well. And my reasoning for that was like, oh, I don't want to sound like a, like a rude person, just trying to be friendly and like set the mood. I cut that out. I skip the pleasantries now. So when I send a cold email, I say, my name is Megan, I'm a writer. Here's what I do. And I put it out there and then end with my CTA, and that's it. And guess what? No one cares. Because they're not there to chit chat either. Does that help? Keep it super concise, really focused. And they appreciate that. They're there to do business. And it doesn't come across as rude, I promise you. Like, and even when I receive emails like that, I'm like, all right. It's when people try to butter me up that I think, get out of my inbox, man. Cool. Okay. Any other questions? I gave you guys those resources. Anything else? I'll give it another 30 seconds or so if you have any last minute questions. And of course, I'm in the group, or we can connect, on social if you think of anything after the call. Okay. Seems like things are quieting down. Well, thank you again. And thank you, Nicole, our admin. I really appreciate, thank you, Ariel. I appreciate your time. And I know, we might all be in different time zones, so it might be late where you are. I really, really appreciate your time. I hope this helped. I'm always around, tag me in the group or say hi on Facebook or whatever. And I'm always happy to provide any guidance I can. So I'm going to end this call now, and I hope you guys have a wonderful evening and a good week, and stay safe, stay healthy, wash your hands, and we'll talk soon, okay? Bye.